The general manager's hands are shaking. Triple H is lying motionless on the cold concrete floor. And Paul Heyman? Paul Heyman just made the biggest mistake of his entire career. What you're about to witness isn't just another Friday night on SmackDown. This is the moment everything changed. This is the moment when loyalty died, when power shifted, and when one of the most controversial figures in wrestling history finally went too far. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this single night will be talked about for decades. So buckle up, because SlamZone is taking you ringside to the chaos that nobody saw coming. The arena is buzzing. You can feel it through the screen, that electric tension when something massive is brewing. Nick Aldis walks out, and immediately, something feels different. His face isn't carrying that usual composed authority. No, there's something darker there. Something heavy. The SmackDown general manager has seen a lot in his career, but tonight, he looks like a man carrying the weight of a decision that could alter the entire landscape of WWE. The crowd knows it too. Listen to them. That murmur of anticipation rippling through thousands of voices, all wondering the same thing: what's coming next? Because when a general manager walks out unscheduled, when his jaw is clenched that tight, when his eyes have that fire burning behind them, you know someone's world is about to crumble. And here's where it gets real. Here's where your heart starts racing. Aldis grabs that microphone, and the arena falls into this eerie, almost suffocating silence. You know that moment when you're watching something unfold and every instinct tells you that what happens next will be historic? This is it. This is that moment. He starts talking about respect, about boundaries, about the sacred lines that should never, ever be crossed in this business. His voice is steady, but you can hear the anger simmering just beneath the surface. He's talking about loyalty, about trust, about the code that holds this entire industry together. And with every word, the tension climbs higher. Because everyone watching knows exactly what he's building toward. Everyone knows who crossed that line: Paul Heyman. Now, if you've been following WWE for any length of time, you know Paul Heyman isn't just any manager. This man is a legend, a mastermind who's orchestrated some of the most shocking moments in wrestling history. He's the special counsel to Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the head of the table. Heyman's silver tongue has talked his way out of impossible situations, manipulated storylines, and kept himself positioned at the absolute center of power for years. But something happened. Something that even Paul Heyman's genius couldn't justify. Triple H, the Game, the cerebral assassin, the chief content officer of WWE, one of the most powerful men in the entire industry, was attacked. Not in the ring during a match. Not in some worked angle where everyone goes home safe. We're talking about a real, vicious, calculated assault that left one of wrestling's biggest icons laid out backstage. And the evidence? All of it pointed straight to Paul Heyman's involvement. You can imagine what's going through Aldis's mind as he stands in that ring. The pressure from corporate, from the locker room, from the fans demanding justice. This isn't just about one incident, this is about sending a message that nobody, and I mean nobody, is untouchable. Not even Paul Heyman. The camera cuts to backstage footage, and my friends, what you see is absolutely haunting. Triple H, the man who's survived brutal wars with The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, and every monster this industry has produced, is lying there helpless. Medical staff are frantically checking him over. The chaos is real. The concern on everyone's faces is genuine. And somewhere in that building, Paul Heyman knows the walls are closing in. Back in the arena, Aldis's voice rises. He's calling out Paul Heyman by name now. The crowd erupts. Half of them are on their feet, half are in complete shock. Because even though we all suspected this was coming, hearing it said out loud makes it real in a way that sends chills down your spine. Paul Heyman, get out here right now. The seconds tick by like hours. The entrance music doesn't hit. The ramp stays empty. And that silence? That silence is deafening. It's the sound of a man who knows his empire is crumbling, who knows that his silver tongue won't save him this time, who knows that he's finally been caught. But then, and this is where it gets absolutely insane, Heyman's music finally hits. The crowd loses their minds. Because love him or hate him, Paul Heyman commands attention like nobody else. He walks out, and you can see it all over his face. He's trying to maintain that confidence, that swagger, but there are cracks showing. His usual smooth entrance is replaced by something more hesitant, more calculated. He's analyzing every angle, every possible escape route, because that's what Paul Heyman does. He survives. He gets into the ring with Aldis, and the two men stand face to face. The camera zooms in tight, capturing every micro-expression, every beat of sweat, every flicker of emotion. Heyman starts talking, and here comes that legendary gift of gab. He's weaving his story, crafting his defense, using every rhetorical trick in the book. Nick, my esteemed general manager, there seems to be a massive misunderstanding here. But Aldis isn't having it. He cuts him off cold. And when I tell you the look on Heyman's face was priceless, I mean it was absolute gold. Because for maybe the first time in his career, Paul Heyman's words aren't working. The manipulation isn't landing. The charm offensive is falling flat. Aldis lays it out. The evidence. The witnesses. The timeline that puts Heyman right at the scene when Triple H was attacked. Every excuse gets systematically destroyed. Every deflection gets shut down. And you can see Heyman's composure starting to crack, piece by piece. The crowd is eating this up. They're chanting. They're jeering. Some are even recording on their phones because they know they're witnessing history. This is the kind of moment that gets replayed in video packages for the next 20 years. Now let me take you deeper into why this matters so much. Paul Heyman and Triple H go back decades. These two have shared locker rooms, traded championships, built empires together and against each other. There's history there, real, genuine history that transcends storylines and scripts. So for Heyman to be implicated in an attack on Triple H? That's not just a betrayal of company policy. That's personal. That's family turning on family. And that's what makes Aldis's position so impossible. Because he's not just a general manager making a business decision, he's a man trying to hold together the integrity of an industry he loves while dealing with legends who've given their lives to this business. You can hear it in his voice when he talks about what this means. About the example that needs to be set. About how nobody, no matter how legendary, no matter how valuable, no matter how seemingly irreplaceable, can be allowed to cross certain lines. The emotion in the arena is overwhelming. Some fans are cheering for justice. Others are devastated because they can't imagine WWE without Paul Heyman. And that conflict? That's real. Because Heyman isn't just some villain you love to hate, he's a pillar of this industry, and watching a pillar fall is always painful, even when it's necessary. Before we get to the absolutely earth-shattering conclusion, I need you to do something for me. If you're feeling this energy, if this story is grabbing you the way it grabbed me when I watched it live, then please hit that like button right now. Subscribe to SlamZone and become part of this family, because we break down these intense moments every single week. Ring that notification bell so you never miss when wrestling history happens. Your support means everything, and together, we're building something special here. Now, let's get back to the chaos. Aldis takes a deep breath. The entire arena holds its breath with him. Heyman is standing there, and for the first time, you can see genuine fear in his eyes. Not the performance kind, the real kind. Because he knows what's coming. He's fought off this moment for as long as possible, but time's up. Paul Heyman, effective immediately. The pause feels like an eternity. You're fired. The building explodes. The reaction is absolutely nuclear. Half the crowd is going absolutely insane with celebration. The other half is in complete shock, hands on their heads, mouths wide open. Because even though we all saw it building, even though the writing was on the wall, hearing those words makes it real. Paul Heyman is fired. From WWE. From SmackDown. From the position he's held as the special counsel to Roman Reigns. Everything gone in an instant. Heyman's face goes through a journey in seconds. Denial. Anger. Desperation. He starts pleading, actually pleading, and this is a man who never begs. He's reaching out, trying to reason, trying one last time to talk his way out of the impossible. But Aldis is unmoved. Security is already making their way to the ring. The finality of the moment is crushing. This isn't a suspension. This isn't a storyline cliffhanger. This is an execution of career consequences for actions that went too far. As security escorts Heyman out of the ring, the camera catches every devastating second. His signature smirk is completely gone, replaced by genuine anguish. The man who's always had the last word is speechless. The advocate has no defense left. And as he walks up that ramp for potentially the last time, the weight of what just happened settles over everyone watching. The implications of this are staggering. What happens to Roman Reigns without his wise man? What happens to the bloodline without Heyman's strategic mind? And most importantly, what happens when Paul Heyman decides to respond to this humiliation? Because if you know anything about Paul Heyman, you know he doesn't just disappear quietly into the night. But right now, in this moment, justice has been served. Triple H has been avenged. And Nick Aldis has proven that on SmackDown, under his watch, there are still rules that matter. There are still consequences for crossing lines that should never be crossed. The crowd is still buzzing as the show continues, but everyone knows nothing else tonight will match what just happened. Social media is already exploding. Wrestling journalists are scrambling to get statements. Fans around the world are debating whether this was the right call, whether Heyman deserved it, what it means for the future. And that's the beauty of moments like this. They create conversation. They create passion. They remind us why we fell in love with this crazy, unpredictable, emotional roller coaster called professional wrestling in the first place. This was more than just a firing. This was a statement. A line drawn in the sand. A reminder that actions have consequences, even in WWE, even for legends, even when those consequences hurt. Nick Aldis made the toughest call of his career as general manager, and whether you agree with it or not, you have to respect the courage it took to fire one of the most influential figures in wrestling history. And Paul Heyman? His legacy will forever include this moment, the night his silver tongue finally failed him, the night karma caught up, the night he lost everything. But here's what I want to know, do you think this is really the end for Paul Heyman? Do you think we've seen the last of the Advocate? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I want to hear from every single one of you. This community thrives on discussion, on debate, on passion for this industry we all love. And if this breakdown gave you chills, if it made you feel like you were there in that arena, then please one more time smash that like button, subscribe to SLAMZONE if you haven't already, and share this video with every wrestling fan you know. We're growing this family one video at a time, and I can't do it without you. Thank you for writing this emotional journey with me. Thank you for being part of SLAMZONE. And remember, in this business, legends rise, empires fall, and the show always goes on. Until next time, keep watching, keep supporting, and I'll see you in the next breakdown. This is SLAMZONE, signing off.